It's apple season and I'm always looking for new apple recipes. So allrecipes.com has the sour cream apple pie. And earlier in the year I made a blueberries and cream pie, so I thought this would be a nice one to try just to change it up a little bit. So the ingredients that I'm going to need are 2 cups of diced apples, a cup of sour cream, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, a teaspoon of vanilla, an egg, a 9-inch pie crust. Of course you could make your own, but I'm using a pre-made pie crust. And I'm also going to throw in a teaspoon of cinnamon. The original recipe did not call for the cinnamon, but every apple pie recipe or even apple recipe that I use, I always add cinnamon. So I'm going to put in the teaspoon of cinnamon as well. There is also a crumb topping on this pie, but the pie is cooked for about 45 minutes before the crumb topping goes on. So I'm going to get the pie in the oven first, and then we'll move on to the topping. For the first step, we're going to mix the dry ingredients together. So it is the 3/4 of a cup of sugar, the 2 tablespoons of flour, and I'm also going to include in the teaspoon of cinnamon. To the dry ingredients, we're going to add in the sour cream, the 1 cup of sour cream, the egg, and the vanilla. Finally, we're going to add the apples. We're just going to toss them in and coat them in the mixture. My apples, I actually end up getting a little bit more than 2 cups, just a little bit more, and I'm going to use them all. Now it's going to go into the oven at 425 degrees for 15 minutes. Then you're going to reduce the heat to 350 degrees and let it cook for an additional 30 minutes. So it's going to be in the oven for 45 minutes, and while it is, we're going to make the crumb topping. For the crumb topping, you're going to need 4 tablespoons of butter that you dice up. You need a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/3 of a cup of flour, 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and I decided to go with brown sugar, but the original recipe did just use white sugar. And I'm also going to add 1/3 of a cup of oats. That also was not in the original recipe, but I have made crumb toppings and I usually put the oats in it and I like it that way. So I'm going to add the 1/3 of a cup of oats, but that also was not in the original recipe, so you could leave that part out as well. So this is all just going to be mixed together, and then it's going to be crumbled across the top of the pie when it comes out of the oven. The pie just came out of the oven, and I'm going to put the crumb topping on the top of it. I am going to cover the edge of this pie when it goes back in because the crust is getting pretty dark and it still has another 15 minutes, so I'm just going to use a little tin foil around the edge of that. But all you do is crumble the crumbs across the top, and it goes back in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 more minutes. Okay, it's ready to go back in the oven for 15 more minutes. You want to make sure that the top is browned. I think mine is a little darker because remember I did use the brown sugar rather than the white sugar, but you want to make sure that it's all melted and browned and that the pie is fully cooked. The pie just came out of the oven. I'm going to let it cool down a little bit on the counter, but then it is going to be refrigerated because you're supposed to eat this pie cold. Okay, so your head is getting cut off here. The pie has been in the refrigerator for probably about 8 or 9 hours now, so it's nice and cold, and Shaun is going to taste it.
Yep. It's pretty good. I like it.
What do you think about the creamy filling or the topping?
What's in the cream?
It's just like a sour cream mixture.
I think it blends good together, like the cream and the apple that's in here. I don't know about this. What's the crust made of?
It's sugar and oats and butter and I don't know, just a crumb topping.
I think the pie part is really good. I don't know about this part.
You don't like it?
It doesn't really have much flavor to it.
Yeah, I think that the toppings probably could have a little bit more cinnamon to it.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I do like the pie. I think I like this one better than the blueberry and cream one, which was basically the same idea where it used a sour cream base with the blueberries for a blueberry pie. I think the apple comes out a lot nicer than the blueberry one even. So I do like it. I do think that the apples blend nicely with the sour cream center, and even the apples have a little bit of a crunch to them still,
Yeah.
which is, I like. Usually when you make the apple pie, it almost becomes like mushy. But I guess just the temperature and the amount of time, there's still a little bit of a crunch to the apple, which is nice also.
Yeah, I think the top part just needs something.
Need something else?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good recipe. I would make it again. It's nice change from just a regular apple pie. And of course, I was trying to find all new apple recipes to do because, you know, I always do the same apple crisp and apple pie and apple bars. So between this and the other apple recipe that I'm going to be trying soon, it's nice to add some new ones. And of course, Fiona's trying to get a taste.
Yeah, you can't have this.
So it's a keeper. It's a good one. If you have some apples and you want to try something new, then we would recommend this one.
Yep.
It's good.
I think I would just play around with the topping.
Play around with that. Well, I added oats. The original recipe didn't have oats in it. I added that. But I don't know if that would have changed.
It's just plain, that's all.
Are you smiling?